So welcome everybody, and as they say when you are on a trip to Scandinavia, skull, or if you are going or thinking about going to Peru, salud. Salud. That's easy, it's like going to Italy, right? No matter what it is, cheers to you all. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Amanda from Roseborough Travel. And I am so excited to share with you, and I won't be the one sharing it all. I am so excited to share with you Scandinavia and Peru, our two group trips that we have with Trafalgar going next year in 2020. But before we get into the meat and potatoes, or the guinea pig, or whatever else, the main dish is, I would love for you to meet our team. Tiffany's my business partner, and everybody knows I get to pick on her a little bit. And I did order her a special drink, and she's not a wine drinker, just so that she could come up and say hello. All right, so if all of the rest of our team will come on up, and I'm going to make you introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Alyssa, and most of you have already spoken to me on the phone or we have talked several times in other forms, and you will have to sit here and listen to me for about 10-15 minutes today while I get really excited about Scandinavia.
Yay!
I'm Debbie, and I know some of the faces in here, so I'm Debbie, that's it. I'm trying.
She's so much more than just Debbie.
Yeah.
I'm Greta, I'm the Brit, the one with the funny accent. I think a lot of you know me or met me or spoken to me over the phone, but hi.
Hi, you're home for a change.
Hi, I'm Rose Forbes, and I might be a new face to y'all, but I've been with Roseborough for about 6 years, but I'm in the office now for the last month plus, so it's been an exciting little learning adventure, and I'm super excited to be working with these awesome ladies.
Yay! And though she may be quiet and hide behind a camera, and I always say we should point the camera, turn it back around, but you get, if you watch the video, a whole bunch of face. So Miss Brittany is the one in charge of doing all of your videos that you see on YouTube and on Facebook. She does all of our Facebook, Instagram, all of our emails, the print flyers that you have in front of you today. She does it all. She is a multi-hat-wearing, multitasking kind of girl, so we like her. How long have you been with us, Brittany?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. So, all right, so without further ado, we are going to turn it over onto the first trip. We are not going in date order today. We are going to talk about Scandinavia first. And even though Ariane is here to talk to you from Trafalgar about all of the amazing things Trafalgar has to offer, I have to tell you, the Alyssa over here, I was going to call you the little one in the house or some sort of crazy thing, but she is so infatuated with this trip. She tells the whole office everything there is to know about the destination, the trip. So who better to bring it to you to tell you about Scandinavia and the tour that we're doing and some of the experiences that you'll be having than Alyssa herself. So Alyssa's going to share with you and then Ariane will come on, I'm sorry. All right, so, no, I want to do a sip. So, all right, we'll take this away, Alyssa.
Help figure it out.
No.
Okay, as I said, you guys are going to have to sit here and listen to me talk about Scandinavia for about 10-15 minutes because when Amanda told me that she was going to Scandinavia, I got very, very excited because it is probably one of my favorite destinations in the world. It's really fantastic. And as she mentioned, I talked about it for hours and hours in the office, and they've asked me to cut it down to just a few minutes. So I will start with, I'm basically just going to tell you why it is that I fell in love with Scandinavia in and of the place itself. When I start with a country, I always love to start with the history because the history really makes a country what it is. And although Scandinavia is comprised of many countries, there's a very old and very deep-rooted history, and it's very much a part of who they are. And you can still absolutely see it in so much of every aspect of their culture. So one of the things that is on my bucket list is the Viking Ship Museum, and it's available to see in Oslo. Love the Viking Ship Museum because it actually houses 3 of the most intact Viking ships that have ever been found, and one of which is the Olsenberg, and the Olsenberg actually was a resting ship for a Viking woman. She was one of the mother of Norway's first king, and she was buried with a lot of grandeur. So when they found this ship, it was just this massive monumental find. It is still mostly intact, and you can see it. And when I'm talking about ships, that leads me to the Boston Ship Museum. And I absolutely love the Boston Ship Museum because the Boston Ship is a really funny story. And it's actually become renowned as a sort of a joke locally because the Boston Ship is known as the example of why you do not let monarchy design your warships. And why you do not let an amateur who has never actually completed such a monumental project be the one who designs it all. So she was known as the most beautiful warship ever created, and so they made her, and she was gorgeous, and she was covered in all these carvings and bronze statues and massive cannons. And as she was leaving the port, everyone came out to see her. She was going to be just this fantastic warship. And the first gust of wind came and started blowing her out of the port. The second gust of wind came, and she promptly sank to the bottom of the sea. The currents, the very cold water, and the amount of salinity actually kept her intact. So when they resurfaced her in around the 1960s, 1970s, she was almost completely intact, and you can go see her. They have a whole museum about her. She's absolutely fantastic. While I'm talking about the history, when I mentioned that their history absolutely still reflects their culture, you can see it a lot in the remaining architecture. So you have all these fantastic cities that are especially portside. Stavanger and Bergen are well renowned for them. So walking through each one is this absolutely fantastic fairy tale experience because they look like you're walking through a Disney fairy tale. And if that is familiar, part of the reason is because Hans Christian Andersen was actually very inspired by all of these villages. This is roughly where he's from, that general area, and they inspired a lot of what he wrote about. Bergen is particularly interesting because it was built as residences for upper-class merchants quite a long time ago. And all the houses were made of this really intricate process of making it out of wood. However, of the hundreds that existed, only 62 remained because, of course, they were made of wood, and wood is known to catch on fire. So there's only 62 left. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and they've discussed that if it continues to burn down, they might just not build it up again. So it's a catch it while you can kind of thing. But it's absolutely spectacular. That would be the one with all the colorful houses on the port. And Old Stavanger is the one that is the whiter houses with the fantastic flowers going through it. And when I talk about their history, also showing their architecture, a lot of that Viking history, even though they're very much a modern province, all of that Viking history still shows really heavily in the architecture. So the Copenhagen Stock Exchange is really fantastic because it does have all these beautiful carvings and it's beautiful in and of itself, but the spire is particularly interesting because it's the only place in the world where you're going to find a spire completely composed of 4 dragons. So all this area here is 4 dragons, and their tail actually twirls up and comprises the spire. There's also a really fantastic element that can only be found in Scandinavia. So the stave churches are fantastic, and they're one of my very favorite things as I was looking into Scandinavia. So stave churches are called stave churches because of the way that they're built. And they have these so they actually drive staves of wood into the ground to give it its strength. And a lot of it is inspired by the way that Viking ships were created and built. And it's interesting because as the rest of Europe was building everything out of stone, Scandinavia decided they were going to build all their churches from wood to keep it within their heritage. And as you go through the churches, you notice that there's all these fantastic intricate carvings. So the reason this happened is because you have, as Christianity came into the area and the churches went up, you still had a very strong foothold you still have this fantastic strong foothold of traditional Scandinavian beliefs, and instead of completely getting rid of them, they sort of melded them together. So you have all this Christian iconography, but you also have this fantastic, wonderful intricate carvings of dragons and fairies, and very much the old gods are still within the new gods, and they really melded them together in such a beautiful way. And the state churches, unfortunately, are quite rare. There used to be over 1,000 of them. But as we discussed, things made out of wood tend to catch on fire, and there are now only 28. So probably don't build things out of wood if you want them to not forget. So as much as their architecture is art, they also have a lot of really fantastic art that is art in and of itself. Stockholm has these really fantastic subway paintings, and it's actually known as the world's largest art exhibition. So every single, not every single, but for the most part, every stop in the Stockholm subway has this unique and intricate paint jobs that are done throughout, so each one is different. And then, of course, no discussion about Scandinavia would be complete without a talk about the Little Mermaid. She's on my line here, and she was actually inspired by a ballet dancer. Lesser known is the Vallone Sculpture Park. So these sculptures is the largest sculpture park in the entire world, and there's more than 2,000 sculptures, or sorry, more than 200 sculptures. I misread my zero. So every sculpture that they have is representation of the human experience. So you have a lot of these really beautiful, emotional sculptures. And then you go really hard in the other direction, you get stuff like this. I believe that was known as the Angry Boy, and the one with the man fighting babies is also very, very popular. And please note, it is my husband's absolute favorite, and he's convinced him that he needs to go there. So you do have a lot of different artwork. And I always fell in love with the scenery. So these are the Jotunheimen Mountains. So the Jotunheimen Mountains, Jotunheim is, in traditional legend, was the realm of the frost giants. So the mountains are actually in a national park preserve, and it's the largest concentration of mountains above 6,500 feet that are in Norway, and it actually leads straight into Vallone. So you have just these beautiful expanses of mountains. And then, again, going really hard in the other direction, we go into the fjords. So the fjords, so you have all these fantastic mountainscapes that drop immediately down into these amazing fjords. And you have Stonking Fjord, it's known as the king of the fjords. It's the largest fjord in all of Norway, and it's roughly 205 kilometers long. And then there is Gjerdingfjord Fjord. So Gjerdingfjord Fjord is an UNESCO World Heritage Site simply because it is absolutely beautiful, and that is the sole reason why they made it an UNESCO site. And it is home to one of my favorite legends about the waterfalls. So in the upper corner you have the Seven Sisters waterfall. So the story of the Seven Sisters is that there's another singular waterfall that is a little bit farther away, and he is known as the suitor. So the suitor came repeatedly to the Seven Sisters and asked each one for their hand in turn. Each one told him no. So the theory is that the suitor then turned to the bottle, and he now sulks drunkenly and watches the Seven Sisters from afar. And the really fantastic thing about the fact that we get to go in June is that you can't always see the Seven Sisters unless the snow melt is very, very strong coming from the mountains, and it's strongest in June. So the most likely chance that you'll have to see all Seven Sisters, including the shyest of them, is if you go when all that snow melt is coming down from the mountains. Okay. Which leads me to the Long Railway, which is not just a landscape, but Vallone is pretty spectacular. It's been voted as the most amazing and beautiful train ride on multiple lists, so it's must-see by National Geographic, Lonely Planet. And the reason for this is it runs through vast quantities of mountains and waterfalls and over 20 tunnels. So you have a fantastic train ride, and it stops at the Fjords. And the Fjords is one of my favorite legends as well, because this is a fantastic waterfall. Total fall is 93 meters, which is about 305 feet, and you can only get to it by riding on the Vallone train. So it's a very, very popular ride. And Fjords is known to be guarded by what is known as a huldra. Huldra is, in traditional legend, she is one of their fairies or invisible people, or I believe in that area known as the hollow people. So the huldra is a very, very beautiful woman, and she's known to guard waterways and forests. But she's only beautiful from the front, so when you see her from the back, she is completely hollow back, and legend says a tail. And if you mention the tail to her, she will drown you. So if you happen to be there and you see the beautiful woman, do not mention the tail to her. So some legend says that she is very, very aggressive and will drown anyone, and some say that she only drowns those who slay her. There's many stories of the huldra being kind, so my favorite one that they've already had to hear at the office because I loved it so much, is a story of a little boy who is fishing, and he sees a very beautiful woman and notices the tail sticking out from beneath her dress. And instead of being incredibly stupid and mentioning it to her, he simply says, "Miss, I'm sorry, I can see your underskirt showing." She tucks her tail beneath her legs and says, "You'll have better luck fishing on the other side of the stream." And the boy had never had such good fishing in his entire life due to the blessing of the huldra. And there's also talk that it's still in existence a huldra that dances on top of dances in the falls for visitors. It is usually one of the local ballerinas, but you never know, so be nice. And that's everything that I have for you. Thank you for dealing with me rambling through everything. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Alright, so Rose will go ahead and be coming around with some wine, and I would love to introduce you Miss Ariane from Trafalgar, and she's going to tell you how to take this trip to Scandinavia, the Trafalgar.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Amanda, and thank you all for coming and attending this evening. And for those of you, how many of you are looking forward to go to Scandinavia after hearing Alyssa speak? Yeah, all right, very good. So with all of that said, just some quick facts for you guys. We're going to talk about seeing Scandinavia and its fjords, and then we're going to also talk about just the typical Trafalgar way. But first and foremost, this is an interactive presentation, so you're not hearing me talk the whole entire time. What are some things you guys want from your vacation? What are things you guys want? Remember that interactive part? That's it.
Ease, a hint.
You want ease? You want what?
Just give us a hint where you know.
What do you want for your vacation? So you obviously want to be well hydrated, but what other things are you looking for? You want experiences? Thank you.
Good food.
Good food. All right. What else?
Culture.
Culture. Okay. What else you want?
Comfort.
Comfort. Okay, I'm right there with you. What else?
Experiences you can't get anywhere else, something special.
I can do something special. Anybody else? It's your vacation. I want to be able to bring out the best things that you want out of your vacation, and especially knowing all those things we're going to hit on just that. So we want you to ultimately live your best self, because when you think about your typical work self, I know there's a couple people in the room that have just recently retired. Congratulations. But you know, when you do think about those moments when you were working and how stressed out and overwhelmed you weren't really getting a chance to, if you were to go on vacation with your work self, that wouldn't be fun, right? Because you're stressed out, you're overwhelmed, you're thinking about all the things you're going to do as soon as you come home from vacation. You're not thinking about, sure, I'll have another glass of wine, or sure, I'll indulge in the food, or maybe I'll sleep in, or hey, I'm going to wake up super early so I have the full day ahead of me, right? So we want to make sure that you truly do live your best self. And so without further ado, I'm going to show you guys a great little video of what the good life really truly looks like. great things you're gonna get a chance to live, and hopefully you will look just like those people in that video. If not, I can assure you, you're gonna get a chance to go and connect with people. As soon as you arrive in the destination, you will have that moment to go and truly connect with our travel director, our driver. Those are the first people you're gonna go and meet with as you go and land in Copenhagen in Denmark. Keep in mind, the actual travel date for this is June 4th through the 17th, which is a perfect time of year to go from what we heard with Alyssa. This is great weather. Definitely wear lots of layers first and foremost. Think about that. And what I would also tell you is your travel director, your driver, they're going to go and portage your luggage. As soon as you arrive, they're going to make sure they bring it right to the coach for you, so you're not having to worry about, as I like to say, schlepping, but portaging is probably the right word to use in this case, to go and bring your luggage right to the motor coach for you, so you're not having to worry about the thing. So that real ease comes instantly right into play for you. And when you think about it, it's having a stress-free vacation, knowing everything has been pre-planned for you, so you get a stress-free vacation versus a stressful vacation. How about that? Does that sound good for you guys? And real joy ultimately comes down to the amount of smiles, the laughter, living your best self. That's ultimately what we want to see, and being able to have that. So I'm going to cover these 3 pillars and what it looks like from a Trafalgar type of standpoint. So we have a great overall little video of Scandinavia. How many of you guys have been to Scandinavia? Very good. How many of you guys are looking to go back? I want to see how many of you guys are waiting. All right, very good. Really bring out the best. So for those of you that have traveled with our brands, how many of you have not traveled with Trafalgar before? Just so I can get a little bit of a hands up on here. Very good, okay, good to know. You know, the one thing that we always like to stress about when you're going on a guided vacation, how many of you guys have been on a guided vacation? I'm sorry for all the questions this evening. I just want to get the interaction, okay?
You said it was interactive.
We did say it was interactive. I did tell you guys that at the very beginning. I will tell you that one thing that we always stress is when you're going on a guided vacation, one of the best parts is the lifelong friendships. A lot of times people don't even recognize that when you go on a motor coach, knowing you're going to be booking into that June 4th date, you get a chance to meet other people that are like-minded. First and foremost, instantly the first thing you guys all have in common is that you want to go and travel to Scandinavia. You're interested in the destination in itself. And it's a great way to be able to connect with other people from other parts of the world, because Trafalgar, we're a worldwide brand on all 7 continents. So you could be traveling with people from Asia, from Africa, from Canada, from you know, the Brits, the Aussies, the Canadians. They bring out sometimes the best in you, the things that you didn't know that you actually had in you. But it's those lifelong friendships. And I will tell you a quick personal story. I had traveled to Italy. Some of you may or may not have heard the story, but I had traveled and I was on this trip for about 9 days. I had met this really sweet, there was a couple widowed people on my trip. And there was a guy named Tom from Nova Scotia, Canada, and there was a very sweet woman named Edith, and she was from Sydney, Australia. And they both wanted to go see the Cinque Terres at the time, and this was something that really, they always wanted to go see and go do. But they wanted to go and see it with their significant others, but they have lost their significant others before they had actually planned to do this trip. And they thought, I'm now going to just stop living my life because I've lost my significant other. And so when they were on this trip, they still decided, hey, I'm going to go, whatever. Just thought, I'm going to make new friends, it'll be great, it'll be a great way to get out of the house. Either way. So kind of about midway through the trip, Tom had overheard Edith speaking and just how she had lost her husband, and which then Tom could really resonate with that in itself. And they actually ended up turning into the romance on our trip, I will tell you. Who do you think moved where? Any guesses? I would go to Australia too. I'm right there with you. However, so Edith actually packed up her bags from Sydney and moved to Nova Scotia. We got a video probably about 6 months later, and we asked her, "How was your first Canadian winter?" She goes, "I was not prepared for this." But you know what? It comes down to those true friendships, relationships. It's people that you really get a chance to connect, and travel really brings out the best in us because nobody here is looking for a stressful vacation, and knowing that we're able to tailor that and really bring out our best vacation selves, that's something that we're very proud of, and being able to build those lifelong friendships as well. So, some of the most amazing people, everybody always says, people that have traveled with Trafalgar before, before is that, oh my God, my travel director was the best. And it always seems to be a contest. I kind of joke. I feel like this time it's kind of a contest of, no, my travel director was better. No, mine was better. You know, we have 500 travel directors worldwide. And our travel directors, they go through some grueling training every single year, but they're the ambassador. They're the people that really want to be able to bring out the best in the destination. They want to really be able to, as I asked you guys of what you want for your vacations, the travel directors also really want to know because they want to make sure that they're hitting on everything that you're looking for. You've just retired. You guys want to know and see and do and experience all the things because this is something you've been really wanting to execute since you guys initially retired, right? So it's those things that you want to be able to specifically go and do. At Trafalgar, we're able to do that. Our travel directors are some of the best in the industry. And they're also your newfound friend that you didn't know you were going to have because they know when the best time is to go into the destinations. They also will go in, if you're on the motor coach, they'll point out those historical facts to you. They may have you go out on, get an actual photo op of, you know, a great scenic view. Just say, hey, let's go out and get a group photo together. Or they could just give you the actual overall VIP pass. Now, what does the VIP pass look like? When you're going into Bergen, as Alyssa had told us about some of the great sightseeing that we're going to get a chance to go and see, it's always nice to have somebody that's got the golden ticket to get you in, the VIP access, so you're not having to go wait in those long lines, because I know how treacherous that can be. You ultimately, the reason why you want to do guided is because you're saving time and you're gaining new bragging rights. Isn't that all the things you want to be able to do and tell your parents or friends or people that you've gone to travel with to say, well, I didn't wait in line with 800 other people. I got the VIP access. Isn't that exactly what you guys are looking for? Or maybe didn't think about until maybe just now? That's okay, that's all good. It's knowing that we have all that taken care of for you. And so our travel directors, they have all that for you. Now, our travel directors, they're phenomenal as they are, and of course going from all these major cities, they want to be able to bring out the best in the destinations, but sometimes you don't realize how amazing the small towns are in between that you go to visit and view, and it really does become a fantastic factor because our local specialists, where you're going to go and do the sightseeing through Bergen, you get orientation through some of the other major city centers, but it is great because you'll get a chance to learn about the history, the horticulture, the things that you want to know and experience along the way. And so our local storytellers, they really want to bring out the best of what's in their hometowns as well. Connecting with locals, we have a fantastic Be My Guest experience. And what our Be My Guest experience is how many of you, if you were traveling, would love to go and get to know what a day in life looks like? How many of you would love that experience? To go into their home, have a home-cooked meal, or not have to worry about well, first and foremost, I did say this was interactive. How many of you are the cookers in your homes? I am too. The rest of you guys, who cooks for you guys? The restaurants? Who cooks for you guys? So the rest of you that have cookers or restaurants or somebody or Uber Eats or somebody eats prepares food for you, I will tell you that we have a fantastic Be My Guest experience. What it is, this is an area where you get a chance. We know that you want culture, you want immersive, you want the overall experience. We're going to bring you into a local's home. You're going to get a chance to break bread, learn about what a day in the life looks like. We usually do have a farm-to-table type of experience, so this at least gives you to learn a bit more about their sustainability and how we're able to do that. So I've got a great little video that I'm going to show you here next, or in a couple of moments here. But just know that we are celebrating our 10th year anniversary of the Be My Guest experience, and that truly does make it unique to the things that we're able to do for you. Now, when we said our dive into culture with our railroad drive and having that beautiful scenic ride and getting a chance to go into the beautiful fjords, this makes it so well perfect because you actually do get a chance to go and see those snow-capped mountain-esque areas. Stays with stories, the fantastic thing with scenic Scandinavia and its fjords, you have 3 different stays with stories. What it is our accommodations for the evening. Because we know that you're looking for that cultural and type of immersive experience, this is if the walls can really truly talk to you. And being able to have a couple of those different types of experiences between Denmark, between Norway, we have a few of them here. So I'm going to show you a great little video of what it looks like in order to have that overall experience that, knowing that your hotels are city center, you have nightlife, shopping, things to do, being able to see a little bit more about what our hotels look like for you.
basement, the fold, the clothing. I like working at these clothing, so it's sensual clothing, really fast and really busy space.
So now I actually have another video, so this is our next video for your Seas with Stories in Norway. I figure I'd do them all right in a row, just to make sure to tell you what really worked.
My name is Maud, and today we are in Trafalgar in Fjord, Norway. And I want to present the dramatic nature that we have massive mountains, blue fjords and my family has been running it since 1990, and I am the second generation. The thing that makes Trafalgar so special and unique is its location by the Trafalgar Fjord. We are actually located in the middle of the village, so it's 2 minutes walking distance to everything. There are so many things that Trafalgar can see and take care of. People from all over the world come here to see our unique nature and scenery. You have to see it to believe it.
So it does come down to the iconics. Knowing that our travel director, they're going to give you a chance to go and really, as Alyssa had even told us, getting a chance to really see that you obviously should not throw things out of wood, because obviously they catch on fire from the experiences that we had heard about earlier. It's knowing that you'll get a chance to see beautiful cityscapes, and it's really going beyond the iconics to really get a chance to view the actual cities and the destination. It's absolutely fantastic and amazing for the things that you're going to get a chance, because ultimately you're looking to see the iconics, gain those bragging rights like we were talking about. It also comes down to those hidden gems. Our travel directors, they know the cities and the small towns are going to go and visit along the way, but they also want to make sure that, you know, there's those hidden gems. Who doesn't love a great surprise? Anybody not a fan of surprises? Because
Not bad surprises, good surprises I'm good with.
good surprises, right, exactly. For those of you that are not a surprise person, you're going to learn how to love them here shortly. Our travel directors do a really great job of being able to find what we like to call as our hidden gems. And this is a great way, whether it's sharing what the local food is or just a really beautiful scenic type of photo that you could go and take. Those are types of things that our travel directors really want to make sure that they're bringing out the best, or if it's architecture, things that you really want to be able to learn and know more about. That's what they're able to do. So I don't know where it's going to be on your trip, but just know that we've got a great little surprise for you along the way. And it ultimately comes down to the journey. Don't you want to be able to, we know that everybody's always looking for getting a chance to do that fantastic sightseeing, but they also want to be able to have a little bit of that free time. And don't you want to feel like a kid again, where you can truly ride a bike, feel like, you know, you can just get a chance to go explore more, go see and do as much as possible in the destinations. It's exactly just that. And it also comes down to having those memorable meals. So remember about our Be My Guest experience I was telling you all about? So anybody want to guess what the local food is in the greater Scandinavia region?
Fish.
Fish, yes, that is correct. I'm not going to come out with
Cheese.
cheese. They are also known for that. Anything else? Anything
Pickled
else?
berry.
What's that?
Pickled berry.
Pickled berry.
Everywhere you go.
Anywhere and everywhere you go. Sure, we're gonna roll with that. That's gonna be a great time. I will tell you that. Ultimately, you guys are gonna have a fantastic experience with our Be My Guest. But it's also those meals that, you know, that might be just half the reason why people are going to travel, is to try their food in that destination, because maybe you've never had it there, or just want to know how they actually prepare it, right? And with over 50% of our meals, we do include it. Breakfast is always included. We do have a few dinners included as well on this trip. I will also tell you that lunch is on your own. So for those of you that are looking to have a little bit of free time, whether you're looking to go and grab a quick sandwich, or whether you want to have a 3-course meal, you do have that freedom and flexibility to go customize your vacation in that case on your own. Or, you know, with your newfound friends that you've just made on the trip, you get a chance to go and have that experience where if there's a bistro that caught your eye in onto the destination, this is the freedom and flexibility that you could go and do just that. So I've got a great little video coming up in here next with our Be My Guest experience.
My name is Alyssa. Welcome to the farm. This farm has been our family since 1875. Our farm is situated just 5 minutes from the city center of Bergen in Norway. We meet our Trafalgar guests and show them a little bit how we are running a small farm. I love to see our horses. I also look on our sheep. Later we go to our living house where we serve traditional food from the area. What we offer is something which is unique for Trafalgar. You can talk to someone, you can talk to your family. They really want to meet with us. They want to know how people are living. I am extremely satisfied when we have had a visit and we have a feeling of the guests, they love it, and then they say, thank you very much, you have opened it home for us. Then I know we have done something right, and then of course I look forward to the next visit from Trafalgar.
How many of you want a jacket like him? I do. I think that's actually one of the coolest things. So if for any of you knitters, this is actually like a knitter's dream to actually go into Norway and to get a chance to go into Oslo. That's where they're actually really known for that as well. So if you want to be able to do that, I'm sure you have plenty of free time. If not, you can go and sit down with the girls at Roseborough Travel. They can go and be able to tell you we do have some optional excursions in order to customize or enhance your vacation experience as well. So if you're looking to do that, you're more than welcome to go and ask any of them. They're more than happy to assist you in saying, hey, if we have where you get a chance to go see how they do the sheep herding and how they actually convert into those jackets and just the extra sweaters that they have as well. Or if you want to go and take a fjords cruise ship ride, you're able to do that as well. I would love nothing more than to look at that beautiful lake right now and have a little bit cooler weather. Granted, it's not 100 degrees outside today, so that's a win for today. But this is an amazing destination. If you guys, for those of you that have gone or are looking to go back, this is an amazing experience that you just absolutely have to go on. Of course, feel free to contact back anybody at Roseborough Travel, but ultimately, I do have some fun little facts because ultimately it comes down to those real moments, and who doesn't want to live those real moments, right? A couple things that I thought were very useful as we talked about was currency. So in Scandinavia, specifically in Denmark, they actually have the Danish krone, so it's called a DKK. So make sure if you don't already have that, there is the currency that you're going to make sure that you're going to need to have in advance. The euro is also acceptable. There's also the Icelandic krona, or the Norwegian krone. So I think that's pretty much universal for them. And then otherwise, you can use the euro just in case as well. On the motor coach, because we do have all our motor coaches are 2 years or younger. We do have if you're trying to go and charge up your electronics, have the converter with you, just so you can go and charge up any of your phones, cameras, electronics, just in case on your motor coach going from from Denmark to Norway and so on and so forth. Also keep in mind that with these 3 fabulous days and stories, I have some other fun facts for you guys, just briefly. So what do you think, as we have our signs, how many of you are actually originally from the Northeast? I am too. Okay, so what do you think is the most scenic sign in Scandinavia, if you're from the Northeast?
Scenic sign.
They have a scenic sign.
Well, something with mountain driving.
You would think.
Ice on the roads. I don't know.
Beware of speeders.
Deer crossing. Whoever said deer crossing. So moose crossing. I got moose crossing for you.
Who got that? We have a prize.
Very good. Very good. Sorry, I found this with some interesting, intricate facts. I thought they were all very fun. So the world's largest population in the Arctic reindeer is the herders can be found in Norway. The connection between the people of its regions and the reindeers go back several thousand years, believe it or not. And what do you think these reindeers were once used for?
Sleigh.
They were for sleighs. And what else?
Food.
Food, correct.
Loading.
What is it?
Loading.
Loading. Clothing, sorry. All of the above, yes, that is correct. Also, for anybody want to guess what the most popular souvenir was in Sweden?
Antler.
Were the antlers, correct. So I thought those were some, a little bit of their fun facts here. So does anybody know what year Scandinavia actually came into life? Or what century?
Year.
What year? Like what century?
We're gonna learn it on the trip.
We're gonna learn it on the trip. If not, it's 18th century. Anybody want to take a guess of the highest mountain in Scandinavia?
What do you want?
The highest mountain in Scandinavia. 1,700 feet. Okay.
I'm asking Boulder.
She is the sign holder in that case. Just some fun facts, but either way, just know that it comes down to those real moments, and we want to make sure that you guys are living your best self.
What was the answer?
1,700 feet.
1,700 feet.
So, what's that? It didn't actually say the mountain, whether or not. It just said it was
You have to go to find out.
Yeah, exactly. But keep in mind, guys, if there is, for the information that both Alyssa and I were able to go and give out to you, a couple things. I know that you guys are here because you want to be able to save money on your trip. And some things that you need to keep in mind. If you book and pay in full before December 18th, 2019, you can actually save an additional 10%. If any of you are able, and how many of you are repeat travelers with Trafalgar, Brendan, and Costaver? I appreciate that. For any of you that are, I actually have a hard, for my very important traveler discount has actually changed this year. So I have a 2-tier different discount. If you are able to book and pay for September 22nd, so by Friday, realistically. Nothing like coming in hot, right? If you are able to book and pay in full, you get your very important traveler discount. For those are my repeat travel that have traveled with their brands. If you've traveled with us 1 to 4 times, we will honor that 5% discount because this is for a 2020 departure. If you've traveled with our brand 5 times or more, we will honor that overall 5% discount on any destination or anything that you're looking to go and travel on. So I know it's a little complicated, but I'm trying to save you 15% off if I can, one way or another. If you can't make that December 18th price point, then our early payment discount goes from a 10% savings down to a 7.5% savings from December 19th to February 27, 2020 to 7.5% savings. Then after that, I'm officially out of savings. So I want to be able to save you guys as much money as possible. So if you're ready, please contact any of the girls at Roseborough Travel. They're more than happy to go assist you guys on that.
What was the February date?
It goes from December 19th to February 27th, 2020. And that's for the 7.5% discount. If you're able to book and pay in full before the holidays, December 18th, 2019, you will save 10%. So I'm trying to...
And when is this Friday?
This Friday is to give you an additional 5%. To give you an additional 5% off.
If you book on the trip and are looking forward to the discounts, I see Brittany making notes, and Ariane will send them to us. We will be emailing you if you're on the trip already, reminding you of those discounts if you pay in full early.
Yeah.
So we will be sure to send you emails reminding you alongside the whole group, hey, you can save money, because we like saving people money.
So you don't get the repeat discount if you don't book by the 22nd, is what you're saying?
Right, I have a feeling that they may bring it back after Thanksgiving, but I'm just saying for right now, just that let's give you the sense of urgency, because otherwise the discounts will always constantly keep changing, but now is honestly the best time to go and buy. I want to be able to save you as much money as possible though too. So, any other questions before I move on to Peru?
But I'm moving on to Peru
Well,
first.
you're moving on to Peru first.
I'm
Let's
going to
switch over.
keep you on the stage with my sign holding skills.
Any other questions? No? All right, Amanda, take it away.
All right, yes. Did you have any questions, Kim?
Yes, I just Googled the highest mountain in Scandinavia. Vallone Piggin.
That deserves a prize.
Norway, Scandinavia and Northern Europe at 2,469 meters, 8,100 feet above sea level. It's in Long, in Auckland.
Right.
Hootenheimen?
We're gonna take
We're gonna go
it
with that.
as
We'll go with
word
that.
of honesty that you read it the right way.
You read it the right way.
All right, so thank you very much, Ariane, for sharing with us. Good job. So I am not a sign holder, but I heard a few of you laugh. I am kind of a sign holder on this. Yes. So as you heard, we had printed September 12th, which means Trafalgar gave you all, special in this room, a couple extra days to book and save on this trip. So we have the early payment discounts paid by December. We have early payment discounts of just a little bit lesser value if you pay in full by February. And if you have any questions, our team at Roseborough will be happy to share with you what all of those discounts are. If you want to come in and have an appointment and go from there. So, all right, let's switch gears. Did we have another question?
No, I just wanted to know the difference in altitude from here to Machu Picchu.
14,000.
Should I get the
14,000. 14,000 feet. All right. So,
every altitude?
highlights of Peru. And I can tell you, I can be the first one to attest that altitude sickness is not fun. I just had that experience last week. All right, highlights of Peru. I'm not even going to begin to tell you that I know everything there is to know about Peru, but I can tell you this. It's on my bucket list and it should be on yours because it is on like 98% of people's bucket list in the top 10 spaces, right? How many of you have Peru or Machu Picchu on your bucket list? And you can call it a live it list, bucket list, whatever you want. How many of you have been there? All right. We got a few of you who have been there, a few of you who haven't, and a few of you who, maybe don't know if they want to go or not. So, shrouded by mist and surrounded by lush green landscape, you will find Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu tends to be the #1 reason why people go out of their way, travel from the US of A all the way to Peru, right? Machu Picchu. You've seen it on National Geographic, you've watched the TV shows about it, maybe heard about some of the mystery, but this sprawling Inca citadel of Machu Picchu really lives up to expectations from travelers worldwide. Now, I'm going to share with you a little bit of information about this, and I have an interactive presentation too, and mine's not very long, but I'm going to talk to you today about the most famous archaeological site in all of Peru. People who travel to Peru cannot miss going to Machu Picchu. It's an awe-inspiring ancient city that was actually forgotten until the 20th century. So, how many of you have been to Cambodia and seen Angkor Wat? Same thing, same type of experience, covered up in the jungles, nobody saw it, nobody knew, it was kind of legend, the same way that this citadel was. So you will be going to this amazing destination, traveling all over, but the main point that people typically will go on this trip, or a trip like this, is because of, not the alpaca, because there's a whole joke behind that alpaca, my bad, but we're not going to do that right now. The alpaca are really cute, but Machu Picchu, right? So I have some trivia for you. What year, and this is for prizes, so you have to participate, what year was Machu Picchu built? What year was Machu Picchu built? Throw out some guesses. 600. Anybody else? Don't look it up. Don't work on yourself. 1450. 1516. 1516. I
1000 BC.
What year?
1000 BC.
1000 BC. Okay. So, the true date, 1320, the true date was 1450 AD. So who said for? Ah, Jerry.
Yeah.
Jerry, please. Congratulations, Jerry. All right. All right. Fun fact. What vegetable / starch is native to Peru?
Can I scream this out yet?
Anybody?
Yeah, potato.
The potato! Good job. The potato is originally from Peru. There's over 3,000 different varieties. And proud Peruvians will say, soy más pueblo que la papa. And what does that mean? I'm more Peruvian than the potato. All right, true or false? Machu Picchu is one of the new 7 wonders of the world.
True.
Good job, all true. See, I told you it was a bucket list vacation. It's on almost everybody's bucket list. In 2007, it was added to the amazing list alongside Christ the Redeemer in Rio de Janeiro, the Colosseum in Rome, and the Great Wall of China. So why wouldn't you want to go? It's one of the top 10 places to go see around the world. All right, so Machu Picchu, we'll be seeing Machu Picchu, but it's not the only thing that you'll see in Peru. From the llamas to the handloom weavers, this trip to Peru will definitely be a once-in-a-lifetime adventure. Ariane's going to go over a little bit more of the itinerary for you, but I also want to talk to you about the extension that we have going. Now, the extension is Easter Island. Easter Island. How many of you have heard about this island before? All right, very good. We're starting off good. How many miles do you think, guess, is Peru from Easter Island, or is Easter Island from Peru? What are the miles? What's the distance?
1,000.
3,000 miles.
1,000, 3,000, 1,000, 500. Anybody else? 2,500. Very, very close. 2,557 miles. It is a very remote island. It is one of the most remote islands in the world that's actually inhabited. Okay, so the island is barely 15.3 miles by 7.6 miles. It's small, okay? And why do we want to go to Easter Island? There's these Maui statues, right? So has anybody here been to Easter Island and seen the Moai statues? Right? It's something you have to do if you're one of those check-off bucket list people. How many statues would you guess are on this island? Remember, the island is 2,557 miles from Peru and only 15.3 by 7.6 miles wide.
350.
300? How many?
1,500.
1,000? 1,500?
3,000.
3,000. 887 of these statues covering a whole island that's only 15.3 miles by 7.6 miles. It's pretty incredible, right? Well, how did they get there? What's their purpose? What's the reason? You're getting ahead of me there. Easter Island is one of the most remote inhabited islands in the world, and it is 1,289 miles away from any other landmass. It's pretty incredible. All right. The utter remoteness is one of the factors that contributes to its very unique culture of the Rapa Nui people. The Rapa Nui people, I mean, if you go and visit Easter Island, you're going to, who said that they like to travel because of immersion into culture? Right? There's a few of you. Yeah. Immersion into culture. You will be immersed into a culture of people who have been living on an island that's 15 miles wide. That's it. Imagine the history and the legends and the stories behind this island. Only tourists call this Easter Island. The real name is, does anybody know?
Rapa Nui.
Rapa Nui. Anybody else? The real name is Island of Acasca, all right? It's the Spanish name for the island, but, Donna, you're still kind of correct. The native islanders call it Rapa Nui or the Great Rapa. And the Great Rapa or Rapa Nui actually means the navel of the earth. The navel of the earth. So that's pretty cool, right? So true or false? The Maui statues have bodies under the ground.
True.
True? All right. Miss Donna, you are correct. It is true. They unveiled, people, scientists, archaeologists, unveiled that there actually are bodies under the ground. Why are they like that? What's the story behind it? How did these statues get there? I'm going to give you 3 options. Aliens, the Easter Bunny, or other.
What's other?
Other? I guess you'll need to find out and see. Join me. I hope that you come on this trip. And Ariane, take it away.
So, once again, this is still somewhat interactive, but how many of you have been to Peru already? Any of you? Very good. Okay, so you're going to be my go-to person when I ask some questions here. Otherwise, please feel free to participate as always. So, when you're thinking about going to Peru, this is 8 days, but then we do have the additional 4-day extension going down to Easter Island. It is great because you are going to have 14 meals included. You actually start in and out of Lima, Peru, which is a very modern day city. Just know that it is a very hectic, chaotic city once you land into Lima. Most of the flights actually land at 1 a.m., so keep that in mind with your flights, of course, that Roseborough Travel can go and further assist you with. But you're actually going to be starting your trip in and out of Lima, Peru, and we do have inter flights, which it takes about 2 hours to get from Lima to Cusco, and then Cusco we're going to be on a motor coach as well too. So this is planes, trains, automobiles. Yeah, I think it really pretty much sums up a flight as well too. So a very interactive as well. But I never knew that I wanted to go to Peru until after I actually came back. And once again, we're going to go through. So for those of you that are being well hydrated, what are the other things that you're looking for on your vacation? We're going through this again, yes. I still want to know, what do you want on your vacation? Because you're going to South America if you're not going to Scandinavia, or maybe both. I'd love to be
Comfort.
You want comfort. What's that? Adventure.
Good weather.
Good weather. I'm right there with you. I'm so right there with you. What else are you looking for?
Beautiful scenery.
I can help you out on that. What else?
Culture.
What is that?
Culture.
Culture. Okay. Very good. So I appreciate that. Yes, all those things you guys have listed are all the things we're going to be able to provide for you. And once again, that chance to live your best self. I'm sorry, there's certain slides that are going to be repeated, but it's just very standard of the brand in general. So once again, we're going to learn about what the good life looks like.
Someone asked me long ago, is it money or fame that classifies? I said, politely no. It ain't no loss for us to feel to take time out in the heat to connect with friends and family, the people that we meet. Experience the moment, let go and just be free. Take it back around the world, it's living such a good life. Good people, good times, it's a good life. Good people, good times, it's a good
So, once again, of course we're going to go in and we're going to talk about how amazing the actual real ease is and getting a chance to go and talk about my 3 pillars. So we're going to talk about the real connections, getting a chance to go and meet the local people in the destination. How many of you actually knew when you're going into the destination itself that the Incas and the local people are actually in every town that you go to visit? Everyone, you'll know by the town of where you're going to visit by the way the people dress there. And I will tell you that I was actually very much intrigued by, it's very much a Mexican, Japanese, and Chinese culture. So when you talk about an immersive experience, it is unlike no other. So if you were looking for amazing Japanese, Mexican, and Chinese food, we got you covered in Peru. That's without a doubt. It was something I was not as prepared or expecting when going there, but it's amazing just seeing how everybody kind of intermingled in South America. It's truly unbelievable. So that's some of the first few things right away. Once again, knowing that all this is taken care of for you versus if you're planning this on your own, making it a very stress-free vacation for you. And also the amount of smiles and laughter that you're going to have along the way. So we're going to talk about those 3 pillars today and what that looks like for you. Once again, it comes down to those lifelong friendships, the destination. I will tell you that I actually made very great friends with our actual local travel director that I had. His name was Harvey Martinez. He's been with our company for 19 years, and he always loves going to be able to show the guests each and every destination, because when he walks the guests into Machu Picchu and just seeing where the real Machu Picchu is and just looking at everyone's face, that is probably one of his favorite moments just to go and view. And just being able to have, like you were saying, you were really kind of shocked by the actual people and just really understanding. But one of the biggest fears that Peru that they have is that Lima is such a modern day city, and if you were to go and visit the third world country or town of Cusco, and knowing that women very much have, they actually carry their child on their back, as they also carry gallons of water up steps for miles. That's just what their everyday looks like, and they're fearful that if that will still be around in another 20 or 30 years, because so many kids are going into Lima because it's such a fast, move-paced city, that they're unaware of what will occur moving forward. And so that's one of their biggest concerns. So I was very touched by that, because I would never have expected going from a very modern city to what third world looks like. And just knowing that they're all only a couple hours of a flight away from each other is insane to really truly look at. So our moment makers, as you guys know, we have some of the best travel directors in the industry. And our travel directors in Peru, they do believe in very much the afterlife, and they believe in aliens and just your theories and your thoughts. And so the travel director may challenge you in the best way possible to hear what your theories were and the things you were taught in school, to say, well, what did you think? How did Machu Picchu come alive? Or what was the archaeological sites? What did you think? How did that challenge you? And so I will tell you a very funny story. As we were coming up to the Sexy Woman Memorial in Sacred Valley, it's actually very comparable to what you'll find in Rio de Janeiro, with the actual overall site with the woman just having her hands up. It's a replica actually made in Peru. So if you can't get to Rio de Janeiro, no worries. I mean, Trafalgar has a trip too, just saying. But if you can't make it on that trip, keep that in mind. And I remember Harvey had looked at me and said, Ariane, what's your thoughts or what's your theory on this? And I said, so did the Incas just go and grab these massive boulders that are 10 feet by like 4 feet wide, and roll it down a hill, and said wherever it landed, that's where they're going to just build? And he laughed. But he's like, that could be a theory in itself, or, and then he heard him say, well, they must have done it barefoot. Like, they had to do this so barbaric. It's crazy to just see the iconic sites, which we're going to go into a little bit further. But our travel directors, they really do know the best times to go in. Harvey was able to tell us the best times to get onto the trains, to be able to give us the freedom and flexibilities of historical things that we wanted to know of. When you go in and do your local city tour, he was giving us historical thoughts and facts of, it was very much influential by the Spanish and by the Spaniards and by the French back in the 1500s, believe it or not. Their actual main structure that they had of their iconic great president that they had, there was actually supposed to be flames around his head. Do you know what they ended up putting, what animal they ended up putting on his head instead? An animal, yes, you heard that correct.
The guinea pig.
The guinea pig, that is correct. There's actually a really great story behind, but once again, you gotta go on highlights of Peru in order to learn more about that.
The guinea pig too, if you're going with me, you're gonna try.
See the guinea pig, yes. We'll get into that in another moment here. I will tell you about that shortly. Now, I had a great local specialist. His name was Julian, and you'll get a chance to meet a couple of the local specialists. So Julian was one of mine. He gave us the actual city tour of modern day Lima, being able to show us where Parliament was, where the banks were, just what local everydays looked like in Lima, and just all the beautiful sights. And I didn't expect Peru to be, or I didn't expect Lima to be as beautiful as it was when you go through the city center. And he told us about the actual funniness of how the actual local president at that time had actually had a guinea pig put on his head. So you will have to go and learn from your local specialist on how that came about, but I just thought that's funny that they had a guinea pig on his head. And it looks like he's catching on fire, which is even more hilarious. So you gotta go check that out. That was a highlight of when I went to Peru, we'll tell you. But our local storytellers, they're going to be able to show you the highlights of what the city really truly has to offer, and to be able to bring out all the best stuff. As a Amanda was telling you, there are 3,000 different types of potatoes. I know the Irish think that they have that in their back pocket, but the Peruvians actually do. There is over 3,000 different types of potatoes. Whether, you know, if you go into a local grocery store, you will see, I swear, almost all 3,000 of them, but we will also take you to the local markets as well. So it was really an unbelievable experience. Now, I will tell you that we'll also do our local city tours in Lima and Cusco. So that will also get a chance to really be able to build on all the sightseeing you're going to hear from a local specialist and really hear about, once again, the history, the horticulture, the culinary experience. When you were actually walking through Machu Picchu, they didn't have rulers, they didn't have tape measures, nobody knew the Incas of how well they could actually go in. But I mean, to actually build things as just everyday, fitting perfectly is amazing. It's astounding, quite in fact. There is an actual theory that is one put out there that all of these iconic sites like in Peru match up with Mexico, with Mayan ruins, with Egypt, with the pyramids, and there's a way that they all used to in ancient years ago, like in BC and AD, that was the way that they all corresponded and built it all by light, which was crazy to actually think about. When you talk about dive into culture, obviously Amanda had brought up the llamas and the hand weavers and the alpacas, thank you. And so you'll get a chance to go and meet the local people. And we'll take you into a local farm. There are some very cute kids, and they have the cutest red or like pink cheeks that you'll ever see. There's a little girl who was 3 years old. I swear, she was the hardest worker, but she did a great job because she looked so cute. She actually made me these earrings, which I thought were really cool because it's a little dream catcher. And they were 25 cents, believe it or not, because they pay souls there. So you can get pom-poms, you can get, I mean, she made all these things, and at 3 years old, I just felt like I need to show off her artwork, I have to tell you, quite honestly. But they'll also bring you in to learn about how they actually transfer the alpaca wool and how they actually go in and do their local weeding. By the way that you know if it's real alpaca is how cold it is. So when you're walking through the markets, if it feels very cold, that means that it is real alpaca versus the knockoff version of it, quite honestly, as well. And if you were looking for a very cute photo, the Incas are very much well known for their bright colors as well. So you'll get a chance to go and meet them. And also, when you're actually at Machu Picchu, you could go and take photos with them. So just make sure that you do not spook them or make them upset because they will spit on you. Note to self, right? And I know when you're talking about the time of year, you want great weather. Well, the good news is you guys are going during great weather, but I would definitely make sure that you bring lots of layers just because Peru can get hot and it can get up to 80, 85, so kind of a comparable day like today in Florida. But then it can go down to the 30s at night. They don't have air conditioning or heating. They don't have an HVAC system in Peru. So keep in mind lots of layers to take on and off. And I will also go into the fact of when you're going into climbing Machu Picchu, there's 200 steps that you're going to climb. If you don't already have like ski poles or walking sticks, make sure that you bring them with you that can collapsible and bring down in your suitcase. If not, you can purchase them there when you're right in front of Machu Picchu, the last town to stop it before you actually go into Machu Picchu as well. I would also tell you, I swear by these Pedialyte packets that you can literally just put Pedialyte into your water and bring it up with you if in case you want to taste something besides water, but in order to keep yourself well hydrated. That's something that saves me on days when it's 104 and I'm driving my car. Or just also hiking Machu Picchu as well. Because as Amanda said, she's gotten really bad altitude sickness, and that is something that is key to keep in mind. So having Pedialyte packets, having ginger gummies to be able to chew on, mints, making sure they're eating well on the trip. Those are just some tips that I found that were very helpful on the trip with everyone that I traveled with when I went to Peru. Our fantastic stays with stores. You have some great locations you guys are going to be staying at that are city center. You have nightlife, shopping. How many of you like to go gamble at a good casino? I'm not judging if you are. That's all good. That's a great time. But the good news is there's actually a lot of casinos. It's kind of like Las Vegas in Lima. So, if you felt like you were going to hit the jackpot, good news. There's a lot of casinos. You can go try it out. Their ceviche is absolutely also amazing. To tell you that. So we have an amazing view my guest, with the Altos family, and this is an amazing experience where you get a chance to just kind of learn, once again, what a day in the life looks like. And they are also known for not just the guinea pig, but they're also known for fish. And so they'll actually make you a homemade ceviche, and they will also have you go and participate in how that actually looks like as well. So you may have to do a little bit of cooking, all right? Is that going to break your overall experience? No? Okay. I know I promised you in my last travel talk that you were not going to have to cook. All you had to do was show up. You didn't even have to clean or do the dishes. But in this case, sometimes you want to be able to have that dive into culture type of experience and learn about how the locals make their foods as well too. And so once again, it does come down to the overall journey of the destination, and it is quite a journey to get there. And it is unbelievable when you go in, because just getting a chance to go and visit Machu Picchu, the good news is you're not hiking up the actual physical, there's two ways you can get to Machu Picchu. You can drive on the motor coach, that's one way, that's the way you guys are going, or you can go and hike up it. And most hikers, it takes them about 4 to 5 days to actually go and hike up Machu Picchu. Now, our travel director, they're wonderful because they do the portaging of your luggage, they take care of all the VIP access, everything you're looking to go see and experience. But God bless those drivers, and God bless those drivers going in and out of Machu Picchu as well, because they are did you do Machu Picchu when you went to Peru?
Just Peru.
Okay, you just did Peru. When you go into Machu Picchu, it's a very cut and dry, kind of like San Francisco, where you have to go up, away, and go, you just way back and forward. You are going up about 14,000 feet. Yes, ma'am.
Oxygen on the bus?
They do have oxygen tanks actually on the bus, and they do have it on the motor coach for us with Trafalgar as well, in case you're having a hard time finding that you're breathing as well. They have it in all the hotels, restaurants as well, so very much modern in that type of case. So thank you for bringing that up. Yes, ma'am.
I know years ago, some friends of mine years ago went, and they said that they had to spend the night in Cusco and they give you a special drink.
Yes, I'm going to get there in just one moment. So because of the actual height and the depth and the distance, it's great news is that you're going into that motor coach. If you're afraid of heights, I definitely suggest you actually sit on the over by the aisles versus out and about, because that drive can be a little scary. But God bless those drivers; they are very talented to get you to Machu Picchu. Believe it or not, bring your passports as well. How many of you are coming in for bragging rights? And I say bragging rights because I think that's one of the biggest things. Bring your passport, because we give you the ticket to get in, and then we actually tell you the story about how Machu Picchu was truly built and how it was undiscovered, and then it got rediscovered again as well. And there's another ticket for you to get out to use the restroom and then to go back in. But before you actually leave Machu Picchu, you can get an actual passport stamp to say that you've been to one of the 7 natural wonders of the world. That's your bragging right there in itself. Yes, and also when you do land in Cusco, because of the flight and the altitude, that can be an overall issue, just because depending on how you're going to actually take, if you're going to get altitude sickness or not. They say to drink it's coca tea, and it was initially used, the coca was actually known as cocaine back in the day, and that's how they actually overcome this. So it does help with altitude sickness if anybody does end up having that as well too. But it does wonders. I mean, I had a couple people I traveled with and they had a hard time to drink that. They felt like $1 million. Also, I know we are very well hydrated group, and I think that's great. About 2 drinks, you will be flying high, so you don't need much more beyond that because of the high altitude that you're going to be traveling in. Keep that in mind if you have a couple of beverages.
Put your barbell down.
Okay. Or bring your flasks with you as well, folks. But once again, you do have plenty of time for yourself in order to make it that more customized type of experience. You know, they're also well known for the Mexican food, for their churros. But also, it doesn't just mean that they're known for that. They're also known for their alpaca. They do eat the llama. And I know somebody mentioned it earlier. Do you know what else they're known for? For food. Guinea pig, correct. That's their main meat source. What do you think guinea pig tastes like? I thought the same thing as well. I really did. I thought it was going to be American chicken is what my thought was. Do you know what it actually ended up trying, what it ended up tasting like? Pork. Yes, it's actually more of a greasy type of meat that kind of pulls apart quicker. I had a pet guinea pig, and his name was Penny, and guinea pig, this butter sauce and rice. That's like one of their main plates that they're actually well known for over there. Along with many other great traditional meals. Of course, our travel director will look out for you, so to be able to point you in the right direction and other types of sources. So if maybe you're not in the mood for rice, don't worry, you have 3,000 different choices and potatoes to go and choose from as well. Just, you know, those 3,000 as well. Some really other cool factors. I remember Harvey Martinez. This is also what I thought was really amazing, really stuck out to me on my trip when I went to Peru. You know, us women, we all love fashion, right? In Peru, what they're known for is these top hats.
Yeah.
And their top hats, and what they're known for is by their generation. So my last name is Lewis, and so my family colors would be black and yellow. So they would make me a black top hat, and it's a little bit higher than the typical top hat that you'd go into, like a tuxedo, into a men's warehouse type of store in order to get fitted for it. And then they would actually have my colors of black and yellow stripe. And then when I have my daughter, and let's say 10 years from now, I would be able to pass it down to her when it's her 15th birthday. And it's a generational factor, but it's also from a fashionable standpoint as well. In Sacred Valley, your travel director will actually bring you to the gentleman who actually makes this hat. He's the last in his trade that actually builds and makes these hats. He is 86 years old and will actually go through the process of showing you how to actually make this hat. He does have a daughter. He's trying to pass it down to her, and she's still fighting that very much so, but she's there just to make sure everything goes well as planned. But I thought that was a really cool experience that you wouldn't find anywhere else. But as you go through the towns, you'll actually notice about their top hats as well. What's also amazing is just getting a chance to see the Rainbow Mountain. I know that's a huge highlight for many of you as well, just seeing the different colors change through and just seeing that is going to be absolutely amazing with the seafoam green to those beautiful terracotta reds. It is going to be some of the most beautiful scenery. Keep in mind, I don't know how my PowerPoint went totally opposite from where I was, sorry folks. What I will tell you is it also does very much come down to the afterlife. And as we know, they're very much into the afterlife. A lot of people are still trying to go back to find these huge sites, and we're going to be able to bring you into those iconic sites as well. How tall do you think Easter Island, the mooring structures are? How tall do you guys think they are?
20 feet.
10 feet.
Close to about 20 feet, believe it or not. So you may think it's probably about maybe 4 feet, 8 feet, but when you see some of these structures, the 887 of them that you will, I don't know if you're going to see all of them, but you will see a good portion of them on Easter Island for those of you that are doing the extension. It is unbelievable, but some of these structures are over 12 feet tall. And just getting a chance to go and use it, seeing the beautiful lush greenery around the quaint island of 15 by 7 feet tall and or long in general. This is an amazing experience to get a chance to go and really visit their afterlife type of experience in Easter Island. Like we said, it is one of the smallest and most intimate type of islands that experiences that you'll ever have to go and experience. Plus, you're so close right there as well too. It's like you may as well go to do the extension for Easter Island. Definitely well makes it worth it. So that comes down to your real moments. Is there any questions on anything? Yes, sir.
How long do you stay up at the high elevation there?
So you do stay up there for 2 days. So the first day when you land, they give you a chance to go walk you through the local market. So if you want to do any shopping, kind of just see what the local lay of the land is. You'll do your city walking tour in Lima, but then Cusco is where you go into the higher altitude. So you have a day to just kind of go and rest. The next morning, your second morning in Cusco, is when it's they do have you on an early morning. So it's 6:30. You actually leave the hotel. Then you actually go and take about a 45-minute actual coach ride to the train station, and then it's an hour-and-a-half train ride. They do provide snacks, and they have water and bathrooms and everything. And it's actually on the train ride, it's a glass train, so you can actually go in to see the beautiful scenery and all the mountain. It's absolutely a beautiful train ride. You'll actually arrive into Machu Picchu, being one of the first few groups that actually arrives into Machu Picchu, so you're not having to deal with thousands of other people, and your travel director already has all your tickets in hand to actually bring you right into Machu Picchu. They will tell you to have your passports and the first ticket out ready to go, so then you hand it to the administrator, and then you walk through, and then they give you the second one in case you need to use the restroom, but know that you have 2 tickets to go out and use the restroom, take a break, and come back, or whatever the case may be as well. Yes, ma'am.
How long are you up there? How much time do they allow us?
They give you I would say it's about 6 hours total. So I mean, you do get quite a bit of time, because I mean, I got there at 8:30 in the morning, we probably left about 2:33 in the afternoon. So you do have an ample amount of time. The moment that you hit the heights, there is the typical hike, which is the 200-foot climb into Machu Picchu, but then you can actually start walking. They'll allow you to walk up to a quarter mile of the Inca Trail as well. And they'll give you an additional like 45 minutes, and then after that, then to go and do additional photos. If some of your group decides, they may just go back out to the main entrance as well, and then wait for them, and then y'all go about the rest of your day as well too.
How did you handle the altitude?
What's that?
How did you handle the altitude?
I did okay. I had a couple people in my group that did not do okay with it. A lot of them have found themselves getting motion sickness or just had the nausea, and we had Coke we had the Coke and tea, we had Coke just for them to be able to sip on, mints, we gave them the ginger gummies to chew on. I gave them Pedialyte packets just for them to also rehydrate, because they found themselves, I went when it was May, it was like Memorial Day weekend, so it was a cooler time of year when I went, but they didn't realize how dehydrated they were until this had all happened to hit them all at once. So we give you huge water bottles in order to make sure that you're intaking quite a bit of water. All of your hotels are, they do have great filtered water type of systems, but I would just always say to have those big water bottles ready to go, and when you're not doing anything, sip underwater. Even if you don't want to, sip underwater. That's always like the biggest key factor as well. Yes?
There was some medicine that I just recently got. It's vitamin C and B, and like it's just vitamins.
Yeah.
But you can order altitude sickness medicine online, and it's all herbal, or you can go to your doctor and get some sort of prescription before you go as well, in case you're worried about it.
Yeah. And
Definitely they sell oxygen cans.
And they do sell oxygen cans as well, yes. That was the other factor as well.
How long does oxygen sickness last?
It lasts for about like 24 hours. I had the few other people that got it on the trip, they only had it for 24 hours, they were able to kick it. It was just giving their body like, I mean, if we landed for 24 hours, they'd gotten it as soon as we landed. Like, as soon as I landed in Cusco, I had a headache. So I took the Advil liquid gel, and so I was able to take care of it right away. But if you don't catch it enough time, it'll catch and sneak right up on you, but it'll be about like 24-hour bug type of feeling. No. Yes, ma'am.
Can give you a bad headache too.
Yeah, you can get quite a headache. So yeah, the Tylenol liquid gel, because it kicks in faster, definitely something to add to that list. Yes, ma'am.
I'm just wondering, Lori pulled up an article on her phone that said in Machu Picchu you're not allowed to take walking sticks
You are.
or cameras.
So you are actually able to take both into it, because I actually had a handful of people that had walking sticks with them that they purchased right outside the town. That was the last stop we made in town to get food and get snacks and sandwiches and empanadas and stuff, so that we could get it on when we were actually in Machu Picchu. And then we all had our phones, and some of us had, the Nikon, like a fancier type of camera. They were okay with it, just being cognizant of if there was a specific area, they're like, please be cognizant here to not take a photo. But otherwise, I had other things as well too. So yes, I know, I can appreciate, because I said the same exact thing when I went to.
Thank you.
Sure thing.
In Colorado, they have these little small oxygen bottles.
Yeah,
Do they have them over there?
they do. They're starting to just get them over there too. So you guys will be, you can always get the cans, and then they have little bottles as well. All the hotels, restaurants, any public place you're going to go and visit, they do have oxygen tanks in case you find yourself hard breathing at that time period as well too. So I will tell you though, you're more than welcome to go to your local hiking store and get hiking boots. Just really want a shoe that has great treading on the bottom of it, if in case anything. But I mean, the hiking itself was 200 steps. So if not, go on your stepper. That will tell you if you're going to do well. Some steps were a little higher than others, but for the most part, the Incas were pretty much dead on with their overall lengths on everything that they had built. It was quite impressive, I really have to say. It's, like I said, we were driving on the motor coach, and you would find these archaeological sites with yellow caution tape. It's just all these things are constantly finding. That's the reason why I want to go back to South America. I mean, it's really a hidden gem of a place to go and rediscover the artifacts and just the afterlife and what they really truly believe in. It's unbelievable to know and experience. So I invite y'all to go and learn about the guinea pig story. Any other questions?
That's just something you're kidding about.
No, that's something they're really into. It's just the aliens and the afterlife is something that they're very much a part of, though, too. Yes, sir.
Is the prevalent language is Spanish or is it Portuguese?
I'm sorry, what was that?
What's the prevalent language, Spanish?
Spanish, yes. Spanish is their main. Portuguese is actually a fallback for them. Believe it or not, great question. Any other questions? So once again, we're going to be going, it's April 4th through the 14th, and we're doing the Ascension to Easter Island. But thank you guys, I appreciate it.